Let's discuss, shall we, a rising star in the Democratic Party. A person who might well find themselves seriously on the 2028 ticket if they continue to play their cards right. I'm not talking about AOC, not Cory Booker, not even about Jasmine Crockett, who is a superstar now. I'm not talking about Eric Swalwell or Wes Moore or even Chris Murphy. I like and respect all of them. Truly, I do. And some of them I actually know personally. But the person I want to talk about tonight was somewhat of, I don't know, he's pretty quiet. 2 weeks ago, you would know he was anything but a household name. His recent actions, however, they have really transformed him to one of the brightest Democratic superstars on the political scene. I am talking about Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, or Christopher Van Hollen. Now, he's been in the Senate since 2017, and in that time, he has been a model legislator, but not a firebrand, just keeps his head down, does good work. And in today's America, that means that you'll never become a media darling, right? That is, unless you do something truly extraordinary. So by now, I'm sure you have heard about Senator Van Hollen's trip to El Salvador, and that's where he fought tooth and nail to meet with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Why did he fight so hard? Well, for starters, Abrego Garcia is his constituent, married to an American citizen living in Maryland. But more than that, it was the right thing to do, the moral thing to do. Donald Trump's own DOJ has admitted that Abrego Garcia was deported to an El Salvadorian gulag by mistake. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously 9-0 that the government must, quote unquote, facilitate his repatriation. And yet he is still sitting in an El Salvadorian prison. It is egregious. It's disgusting. And Van Hollen, well, he had enough. He flew down. He demanded to meet with Abrego Garcia. He demanded proof of life. He got it, and thank God he did. Not only can Abrego Garcia's wife now sleep ever so slightly easier, knowing her husband is still alive, but now it is much harder for some corrupt official or someone in El Salvador to do away with the man. My opinion, Van Hollen performed a valiant, courageous act. But not everyone agrees with me. In fact, there are some, even on the Democratic side of the aisle, who have been rather critical of Van Hollen. California Governor Gavin Newsom, in particular, has come out to state on the record that he thinks it's a mistake to focus so much attention on this distraction. Now, I have plenty of thoughts about Gavin Newsom using those words when, a man's life hangs in the balance. But look, I'll let you hear from Senator Van Hollen's response, what his response is first. Here it is.
I just want to ask you one last question, just frankly about some raw politics of this. And I'm asking you this because we've heard some of your fellow Democrats like Gavin Newsom say that it's a mistake to have this fight when the economy really is the issue that Democrats should be focused on. He said it's the distraction of the day, the art of distraction. And how is it so that we are looking like we're defending, someone who's out of sight, out of mind in El Salvador? Do you see an argument that the focus on this, regardless of due process, which is totally understandable, but just on the politics, might not be winning for you?
I don't think it's ever wrong to fight for the constitutional rights of one person, because if we give up on one person's rights, we threaten everybody's rights. And I think a lot of voters, both Republican and Democrat, are tired of elected officials and politicians who just put their finger to the wind. And I would say that anyone who's not prepared to stand up and fight for the Constitution doesn't deserve to lead.
Democrats are tired of politicians who just put their finger to the wind. Now that is a mic drop. Yes, it is. But okay, let's take a step back here. Why is Gavin Newsom calling this a distraction? If I had to guess, some of the recent reporting about Abrego Garcia has him nervous. So Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer Vasquez, sought and received a temporary protective order against him in May of 2021. The order alleges that Abrego Garcia, and I quote here, punched and scratched Vasquez, quote, ripped off her shirt and, quote, grabbed her. Now, Vasquez has since said that she didn't move forward with the court process because the situation, and these are her words, did not escalate, and there was never another instance of violence in their relationship. So folks, listen, no way to sugarcoat it. And it's not pretty. Domestic violence, even in only one instance, wrong. It's worse than wrong. It's terrible, right? As you can imagine, Republicans have pounced on this. They have used it to claim Democrats are now the party of wife beaters, which is rather rich coming from them, given the allegations made against a host of figures in the Trump administration. But I digress. Gavin Newsom is not totally off base if he indeed thinks it is a mistake to cozy up to Abrego Garcia to turn him into a symbol of the party. But here's the thing. That's not what Van Hollen is doing here. And he has been very clear about that.
I am not defending the man. I'm defending the rights of this man to due process. And the Trump administration has admitted in court that he was wrongfully detained and wrongfully deported. My mission and my purpose is to make sure that we uphold the rule of law, because if we take it away from him, we do jeopardize it for everybody else. And I do want to point out, Carl, yes, the Trump administration is trying to change the story. They're trying to detract attention. Here's where they should put their facts. They should put it before the court. They should put up or shut up in court. Because Judge Zinnes, who's the district court judge in this case, said, and I quote, they put no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or to any other terrorist activity, unquote. She says that a couple times in her decision. So, Mr. President and Republicans and anybody involved with this, take your facts to court. Don't put everything out on social media. As to his wife is the one who is asking us all to bring him home so his rights can be respected.
And in fact, even if he is a gang member, that doesn't mean you don't have rights, due process rights.
Well, exactly. But again, the place to litigate that is in the courts, and they've not put the evidence before the judge in the case. So again, put up or shut up in court.
Now, I want to repeat what Van Hollen said right off the top. I am not defending the man. I am defending the rights of this man to due process. That is correct, 1,000% correct. That is the message Democrats need to be running with. Abrego Garcia may have hit his wife, may have done some other unsavory or even awful things throughout his life. He may be no angel, right? But guess what? The Constitution isn't written only for angels. It's written for all of us. We all have a right to due process. That is the message Democrats need to be shouting from the rooftops, okay? This is not, if he did that to his wife, awful. Van Hollen is the smartest man in the Democratic Party at the moment. Now is not the time to put your finger in the wind, right? Now is the time to take action and grow a moral backbone. And fortunately, folks are following his example.
You know what I think the right thing politically to do is actually just do the right thing, right? If we do the right thing and we defend people, if we defend the innocent, if we defend our democracy, the politics tend to take care of themselves. You know, I learned when I first ran for office that we can spend all this time thinking about what is the right political thing to do. And frankly, I think that's one of the reasons why the Democrats have lost elections in the past, is because we're always thinking about what are the politics of it, right? So let's just do the right thing. Let's defend the innocent. Let's try to get this man back to his family. Let's also enforce our immigration laws. Let's make sure we have a secure border. Let's get criminals off our streets. You know, we have the ability to do all of those things.
So what did this entire episode teach us? What is the Democratic Party's takeaway? Moral backbone trumps polling data. When you stand up, when you walk into the lion's den on principle rather than postpone for politics, you win more than headlines. You win respect, that of your colleagues and of the American people. So to any Democratic lawmaker watching me now, the next time you're tempted to hesitate, tempted to wait for the winds to shift, remember this moment. Remember Chris Van Hollen choosing to follow his moral compass to El Salvador. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.